Good morning. Today is the 17th of June and this is a Slightly Shambolic Shuffle around the Nostalgia show at Broadlands near Romsey in Hampshire. The show doesn't just have classic cars here, although this is obviously a car channel, so we'll be focusing upon that. It has all sorts of things, vintage clothes stores, sort of fire brigade museum exhibit. We've got old buses and vans and live music and things like that, but we'll also be focusing on the cars because that's what this channel's really about. I'm in the section over there. I do feel a bit modern being here, but I'm not the most modern car here, not by a long way. There are several cars that are actually newer than my Volvo, but a lot of them that are older, particularly in this display section. Ford Zodiac convertible Mark II. This will be from the late 1950s. I forget now who the coach builder on these actually was, but I'd like to say someone like Abbott Farnham, but I think they did the estates. But that is really nice. It's actually got a Continental kit on that as well, by a company called Kings from Norfolk. No classic car show is complete without a Morris Minor, and this is a Morris Minor convertible. It's actually a 62, so it's one of the very last ones with the Platpan wipers in the middle. This will be either just before they introduce the 1098cc engine or one of the first with one. See if it actually says here. No, it doesn't say. So I'm not actually sure. Could be just before 1098 came in, which was the same year as this. It's a nice colour, that. Another Ford from the Three Graces era, Mark II Ford Zephyr. I think I might have seen this actually before, down at Christchurch at Classic Cars on the Quay. Typical 50s colour, and then the little shade above the windscreen here, the extra lights, the mirror up there. It's wonderful, and of course you've got some sort of period accessories in here as well, which is really what today is kind of all about. See hats on the parcel shelf, rear blind, all that sort of stuff. That is just delicious. It's just wonderful. Main rival, of course, back in the day for this was the PA Cresta, which is this one. I suppose really the Velox competed with the Zephyr and then the Cresta of Zodiac, but they're very similar. Strip Speedo, vinyl on the dash, and then this kind of edge when you open the door, which could just spear you in the chest. It's not the best design, really, in my opinion, but you know, Her Majesty the Queen had one of these. I think she had an estate version actually, so you know, you can't really complain, can you? Another Minor 1000 convertible. This one actually looks a little bit older than the other one. Could be completely wrong. I think this again is a 948cc. I like the other one. It's got the original steering wheel in it, which lasts until October 1964. The genuine convertibles for the miners are now very, very expensive and very rare. That originally was registered in Bournemouth, so it's not come too far actually in the course of its life. 1991 Nissan Figaro. Strange, this is the same year as my Volvo actually. This is on an H91. Never officially sold over here. This one was imported, I think, about 2003. 2003, thank you. And looking very, very nice. It's just a K10 Micro under there. It's not got the same engine as this, because we never sold the turbo from this car indicated officially in this country. You could get it in other markets, but yeah, it's amazing. Actually, there's so sort of few external clues as to that being a K10 Micro, but that's what it is underneath. And DS here, there's actually two of these, both on K plates here. So this is the slightly sort of later facelifted one with the more flush door handles. There's a nice smell actually. This I didn't realise the smell of it. So yeah, it's a 21. It's got electronic fuel injection, which is pretty advanced for 71, 72. Austin 7. I think this will be a 20s one, judging by the look of it. The later ones did look a little bit different from this. but I'm not really an expert on those. I like this Jaguar. This isn't a 420G, it's not an S-Type, it's a 420. They are quite rare. Oh look, it's not taken too long for the for sale thing to come up. So it's a 68 420. As Mr. Bill says, from the Fuel Power channel, this could be yours. So 07521744439. Thank you to Jim Clark for bringing your beautiful car to the show. Oh, look at all this. Wood, leather. Yeah, this is an auto, this one. That is ever so nice. It's the sort of thing we like to see, viewers. Someone in the Tesla motor enthusiasts who actually were responsible for giving me an invitation to the show has all got one of these as well. I don't know if any rest of them are here. They may be coming, I don't know, tomorrow or something, because this is actually a 3-day event, but I'm only coming for 1 day. So Austin Nash Metropolitan. It's one of the Austin ones because it's right-hand drive. This one is a 59, and it's got a 1.5 engine. Yeah, most were exported. This one is UK market one. And it's, if you want to just sum up the nostalgia show, I think this car would probably do it for you. I think this is it. Look at this. You've even got a little tray that just like the drive-ins back in the day to put on the side of your car. She's got a rear seat. My gosh, I wouldn't get if we had to get in there. Extraordinary, yes. Built for Nash Motor Company by Austin in this country, exported over there. And we've got another Minor 1000. This is a very late Minor. It's a 70-71. The really late ones had the ignition switch actually on the steering column. This one hasn't got that, so I think it's a 1970. Again, the sort of sunshade over windscreen, it looks fantastic. Little peaks on the headlamps. Yeah, it's a right sort of look, isn't it? So the Alternative and Retro Caravan Society have got an exhibit here. I mean, I'm not really knowledgeable about caravans. I'll leave that sort of thing to Mr. Bill. But we have got some cars in here. Mark II Jaguar 3.4, 1967 to 68. I imagine with that tax disc, it's probably a 68 model year. That is rather nice, isn't it? And of course the Volvo Amazon. I seem to see Volvo Amazons everywhere I go at the moment. Obviously being a Volvo owner, you do see more going to the Volvo specific shows and things. This one I'm not sure what year this is. They were made from 1956, although we got them in 58 in this country initially, until 1970, so I'm not sure. Oh excellent, someone's actually provided me with an information sheet. Yes, it's a Fiat 124 Spider. This is an American specification one. Most of them were that I've seen actually. So the 78, it was registered in California. It was imported in 2013. And it's got aftermarket alloy wheels on it, which actually they look alright, don't they? They look pretty good. There's the engine. 2-litre Fiat twin cam, I think. It's a 1.8 in this one. But 2 litres must have been later. This is 1.8. I should actually read the information sheet, shouldn't I, viewers? Ooh, is that a beige leather interior? I do like a nice beige leather interior, viewers. Unleaded fuel only. Fantastic. Of course, by this stage in America, you had to have the sort of funny bumpers fitted, and that's what this car's got. And of course, we're at the caravan section, so it's got a tow bar. Humber Super Snipe. Oh, yes, please, viewers. Now that is a tasty treat. You could get the Super Snipe or the Imperial. They kind of all shared this basic body, although the Imperial was a lot longer. The Hawk only had dual headlights. This has got quad headlights. This one, I'd say sort of mid-60s, but it could be a bit earlier than that actually. Very, very nice. I think this is a 6-cylinder. Definitely the sort of car that a local dittatory would use. Another Amazon here, 6768 on an F. It's 122S with a B18 engine. Absolutely amazing. The police in this area actually used these, and they found them to be excellent motorway traffic cars. And of course a P5B. Can't go really anywhere in this country without seeing these at shows. This one is 1970-71 registration, white wall tyres. This is the coupe, and it has another beige leather interior. It might be cream actually, but it has got wood, and that's what we like, viewers. I drove one of these for the, I think it was the 6,000 subscriber special last August, and it was fantastic. Come to the familiar classic section, I suppose. Minis. This one's a lot newer than my car. This is a Mark 6 Mini. Yeah, the Mark 7s have the stalks of a Rover R8, so this is a Mark 6. 1995, 1996 registration. I didn't realise there's a Winchester area Mini Owners Club. You learn something new every day. Not too far from Winchester at all, it's about 15 minutes or so. And we've got a Mini 850. Wow, yes, I keep forgetting they actually still made them as late as this. It's a 1973, but it would have been registered in 1974. Sorry, 75, sorry, 75. I can't read, can I, viewers? It's pretty appalling, isn't it? 75. Yeah, and it's really standard, this. It's really, really standard. I don't know if the chrome trim on the side would have been actually fitted to these cars or not. It looks like that's off, I don't know, a Mark 1 or something, like a 7 Deluxe or something like that, Super Deluxe. I don't know, might be wrong about that. Maybe somebody can tell me in the comment section if the 850 Minis in the mid-70s actually had the chrome trim on the side. And viewers, we are yes, in the very nice familiar territory here. A selection of Triumph Dolomites, and most of them are sprints. In fact, all of them might be sprints. 1975 to 76 on a P. This one's had the bumpers taken off. That actually looks quite good. An early one here on an L. I think this is one of the very first actually on an L. I think they came out late 72 or 73 from memory, the sprints. Forget the colour of this. The information sheet might tell me. Have a look. So, gosh, it's a pre-overdrive. It's a very early one then, if it's a pre-overdrive. Let's see what it actually says. Does it actually say the colour? Yes, but mostly yellow. There we go. There we go, some Southern Counties garage. In Crawley. This chap has had this for over 20 years. Then we've got a much... Wow. So actually this has got a later registration date, but it's actually a slightly early car. Again, mimosa yellow with the correct alloys. I mean, I feel pretty happy to be here, to be honest, viewers. This is brilliant. I'm getting, of course, vibes from the first series of Professionals when a white one of these was driven by Lewis Collins. It was a POK 79R. That one. This one is a pre 1850 HL Dolomite. When the Dolomite was first launched in 1972, they were just called the Dolomite. They weren't called the 850 HL, but in retrospect, this is what one of these is, and this is the type that I filmed for the 4-year channel anniversary in September 2022. So this will be 74, 75. It's got the sprint wheels, which, you know, does make it look a little bit sort of like a sprint, but it's not. Dead giveaway here is the fact that it's not got the full vinyl roof, because all the sprints, as far as I'm aware, had the full vinyl. The 1850 HLs and the just plain Dolomites that came before them just had the vinyl pillar at the back there. But it's got the air dam and everything like that. But yeah, I mean, even the 1850 is a great car. The only trouble was when I drove last year, it wasn't quite running right, so it was a bit slow. but they are fantastic. So there's a much later one here. You can see the badge at the front is actually different. It doesn't say Dolomite Sprint like this one does, it just says Triumph. So 77, 78 on an S. Don't know the name of this colour, I'm afraid, but as you can see, full vinyl roof on this one as opposed to the earlier just plain Dolomite over there, which just doesn't have a full roof. Another one of the earlier ones here, 73, 74 registration. This is the colour and specification of the one that was used in the professionals, even down to the head restraints, overdrive gearbox. I can't remember if that had Dolomite Sprint or just Triumph on the front of it. Not actually sure. Maybe the information sheet will tell me exactly what year this is. Okay, so it is a 73. That is fantastic. As is this Ford Granada. Wonderful. White wall tyres. Royal family did have, I think, at least several of these actually. This is quite a late one on the sea. They finished production in 1985. And we've got all kinds of just things, sort of memorabilia things in there. And a little friend down there too. Oh, there we go. So yes, it is an 85. And it was used by Queen Elizabeth II on Balmoral. Rubber floor and extra padding in the rear for the corgis. Yeah, rubber floor. And a gun box. Wonderful. 1968 to 69 Jaguar E-Type 4.2 Series 2.
It's getting warm now.
Tell that was straight away by the rear lights, which are different. And also the front lights don't have the kind of glass cover on them, although the very late series ones also have it deleted. 1932 Ford Roadster, obviously heavily modified since it was made. I hope I don't get a copyright strike on this views. It's a bit risky doing this, but we shall continue. Plymouth Prowler. This will be from about the year 2000, so this is much newer than mine actually. I think it's a V6 of 3.7 in this from memory. Automatic gearbox, various sort of 1990s Chrysler bits in this. I don't think they were officially sold over here. I might be wrong about that. I don't think they were. Certainly they were in America. 1973 to 4 MG BGT V8. So I think 73 was the first year for the V8 these. This one's had a later 5-speed gearbox put in. It's probably I don't know. Oh, I can't remember the make of these now. No, not Tremec. I forget. I'll come back to me later. But that looks, yeah, sort of quite correct. It's got the beige leather interior with piping and all that sort of stuff. Very agreeable. MG Magnet, 1600. I don't think that's the original thing on the side of them though. Now, if this has a smaller rear window, then it would be a ZA. If that's the larger one, is ZB. I think that's the smaller rear window, so that's a ZA. Be from sort of mid-50s, I should think. Now, there is this particular American car section actually at the show, which we haven't arrived at yet. This one, I'm not actually sure what this is. The front of it might kind of be more of a clue. Is that a Mercury or something? I don't know, viewers. Answer the comment section below. I haven't got a clue. I do know, however, what this is. It's a Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow 2 with the front spoiler and the interesting headlamp wipers. The information sheet might give me some more details about it. It's a 79. Oh gosh, ex-Moody's blue car. Oh, Peter Gordino. Yes, I know him. I've watched UFO. Nice cool breeze coming from somewhere today, which is most welcome. 1955 Rover 60. Gosh, this is the one which had the Land Rover engine in it, isn't it? This was the sort of cheapest one. Amazingly, this is the only P4 that's actually here. I don't think there are any others. Next to it is this very lovely Porsche 356. That is in just amazing condition. So it's the Super 90, which I think was quite a late one. I think this would be from the 60s then. It's right-hand drive as well. Yeah, 1960, there we go. It was supplied to Australia. Mark III MG Midget, much later than the one that I filmed. The one I filmed was a 68. This is 1973. The Mark III lasted quite a long time actually. This is a round arch example. Another Mini. Again, this is actually newer than my Volvo, which is crazy to me. But there you go. It's a Mayfair. Mayfair's lasted quite a lot longer than any other type of Mayfair badge car on the Rover Group range. So this is sort of 91, 92. The reason this Mini looks a bit weird is because someone's put a Honda VTEC engine in it. I don't know if it's a case engine or the B series engine. It could be either one, as far as I know. That rocker cover looks very familiar to me. Obviously these always turn the opposite way to everything else. You've got a big sort of brake servo in there, which you're going to need if you've got this much power in a little car like this. Oh, and I think the alarm's actually sort of sounding on here. This car would originally be made about 1984-85. The rear end's also been customised with these different lights and things like that. And it says Mini VTEC, and it's got a rear wiper. You could get a rear wiper on a Mini from the factory. It's a very, very rare option, but you could get them, but that's not one off a Mini anyway. Viewers, do we possibly have the Rolls-Royce of beige leather interiors here? Oh my, we do. It's literally the Rolls-Royce of beige leather interiors. I mean, some of you might say it's a bit more biscuit than beige, but I'm going to go with beige because that's more exciting. And I can smell it as well. I can actually smell that. So this one is a 1981 Silver Spirit. It's a very early one. They came out in 1980. And I've seen this before actually at Concord Classics down in Eastleigh. It's not very far from here, of course. It's about 14 minutes or something like that. That is delicious.
Nice of her to come along.
And then we've got this. I don't know what this is again. I have no idea. It's a 41. It's like a Willis or something. I've absolutely no idea. It's heavily customised. There's probably not too many original parts left in that at all. But it's not the only sort of customised American car that's here. We'll see some more in a bit. So I've got a few Beetles here. This is one of them, the 71-72 registration. It's a very original looking one. Look how sparse that dash is. You've even got a fuel gauge. It's actually got a fuel gauge. Some of the earlier Beetles didn't get a fuel gauge at all. You just had a little tab, which is sort of crazy. This is a Bentley. I'm going to guess and say it's an S1 or an S2. Again, a delicious interior with leather and wood. The S3 had the quad headlamps. This has only got the dual ones. So between 55 and 62, I think, would be one of these. Depending if it's a, it is an S1, okay. If it's got a tax disc like that, a replica tax disc, that'll make it an S1. It'll be a very early one, 1955, when they started making them. 1933, hang on a second, let's get this right. So this is the 35. Austin 12.4 Ascot Saloon, the one for sale is not the same car. That is actually a local car. It was registered to a gentleman in Emsworth back in 1935. Yeah, it's not a 7 at all. It's got 4 doors for a start. It's a much larger car than little 7s. Ford Cortina 1600E, of course, when we were at Bromley Pageant last weekend, we saw an entire display of these. This one is 68, 69. Look at that dashboard and all that sort of stuff. But certain ones of you will get very, very excited about these. This one, again, was at Classic Cars in the Prom, which is Bournemouth, the same event really, Classic Cars on the Quay. And we've got a Burton head on there. Porsche 356 Speedster. I'm gonna sort of sit my neck out here and say it's probably a replica. I think it's not one of the original ones, because it probably wouldn't be here if it was. It'll be one of the replicas, but that's a very, very good replica. That's a fantastic replica, actually. Don't know what year that would be. Something Alpine, 1725, so it'd be a Series 5, a 65, so quite an early one for the 1725cc cars. There we go, yeah, it's a Series 5. And of course, in Dr. Nova did have one of these, but it's a much earlier one. Oh wow, I've not actually seen one of these before. This is one of the very last of this kind of very long series of cars, which started with the Frog Eye Sprite in '58. This isn't an Austin Healey Sprite, this is actually just an Austin Sprite. So the very, very last year they made these with these badges. Yeah. So the design continued until 1980 with the MG Midget. But this never got the 1.5 engine or anything like that. This is still on sort of Mark III specification as far as the midgets would go. We've got the square arch here rather than the round arch. The round arch is a little bit later. That's amazing. I've only ever read about these cars in books. I've seen Austin Healey Sprites before, but I've not seen an Austin Sprite. This is quite amazing. Yeah, very similar dash to the Mark III midget that I've driven. Again, getting in and out of these can be interesting if you're tall, but that is amazing. As you can see the front end, it just says Austin Sprite. Wonderful. Now, because the car, looks a lot more modern than every other car that's here, it's not. I mean, there's two Minis at least that are newer than this, but the Volvo's here. I really must do something about this sort of side, which you can't really see on camera too well, but the lacquer on the side of the car is not the best. It really needs like a thorough polish on this side. But yeah, because it's quite an old car, it's a 91. It fits in here sort of okay. The figure is the same age as this. 1968 Jaguar E-Type 4.2. I think this is 68 anyway from memory. Very, very late Series 1 in that case, just before they got rid of the sort of covers on the headlamps. 1966 MGB. I'm actually surprised there aren't more MGBs here. There's only 2, which is unusual. Triumph Herald 1966. Herald 1200. Wonderful colour scheme on this. Local plate to the area, actually, registered in Portsmouth, I would say. And we've got a little friend here. Citroen DS, second one we've seen today. Again, about 1971, 1972, with these later door handles. July 72 was the tax disc, so that would kind of confirm what I thought. And then one of these Chevy pickups. It's early 50s, I would say. Right, let's go to the other side where there are some more cars to look at. So we've got a Daimler here from the 1950s. Tell us where to Daimler by the grill, can't you? 1954 Daimler Conquest Roadster. I didn't even realise they made a Conquest Roadster. I knew they made a Conquest Century. Didn't realise they they made a roadster, but here one is. It's actually on a local plate to this area as well, which is amazing. CR was an old Southampton plate back in the day. Later changed to Portsmouth in 1974. It's got quite a big boot actually for a car like this. And another one of these Volkswagens. This is a 1968. Again, it's got one of these little trays we used to use at drive-ins back in the day, and all sorts of things. Hampers, and that's like a camping fridge, and all sorts of stuff like that. And then Aston Martin DB5 in gunmetal grey. I think that would be a little bit expensive, viewers. I don't think it's for sale. Wow. This is a 1964, so it's 1 year newer than the one used in Goldfinger. That was a 63. There were several cars, but BMT 216A was an Aston Martin sort of DB4 prototype that was originally used in an episode of The Saint called The Noble Sportsman in 1963 when it was in Dubonnet red. This kind of gunmetal grey colour was actually applied to the car between the appearance of The Saint and the appearance in Goldfinger. So probably the oldest car here, 1914 Ford Model T Tourer, shipped to America in July 2015. And someone's put an electric starter on it, which is probably not a bad idea, but the way you have to control these Model Ts is absolutely insane. Those pedals don't do at all what you think they do. They really don't. But yeah, amazing to see something like this. I mean, if you want nostalgia, I think this is be the most nostalgic car probably of all time, because it was the first car that a lot of people in the world would have ever seen. Those rear lights on this beach buggy look just like the ones of a De Tomaso Pantera, but I could be wrong. Is this the Challenge Annika beach buggy? Well, it is. Yes, it is. It was commissioned and built by Steve Speed for the show broadcast in 1989. Good old Challenge Annika. Yeah, 72 Beetle it would be. Although the car was built in 89, it would have the registration number, the original chassis. 1967 Ford Mustang. Classic livery from back in the day. Another one of these Chevy pickups. I think this will be from the late 1950s. Obviously heavily customised and not an original colour, but that doesn't matter. Someone's really going in for this theme on the interior. Look at that. '57 Chevy Bel Air. See, the wheels are aftermarket, but they actually suit the car quite well, I think. It's the classic Chevy, absolutely. Another one of these late 50s Chevy pickups. This one's a 3100. Is that just an intake, or is that a supercharger coming out of there? Looks just like an intake, because those are the air filters, aren't they? On top of there. Another Mustang 6768. More stripes. GT350. Is that a real GT350? I don't know, viewers. I saw a GT350H at the Bromley pageant last weekend, so who knows. Pontiac Le Mans 1969 to 70 registration. Automatic gearbox. Oh, it is a 70. It's a Le Mans Sport. The information sheet gives it away. Someone's very wisely changed those headlamps for ones that are LEDs in them, but it's probably a bit safer. 1982 to 83 Ford Granada 2.8 injection gear X estate. I've actually driven one of these, viewers. It belongs to Mr. Coleman, a British mechanic. He's had it in his family forever, I think. It's about the same age as this. It's also in Hawaii. This one is an injection and it's an automatic. His is a car, but it's a manual. And they are just amazing cars to drive. The manual gearboxes can be a bit tricky for those who aren't used to them. But this is just fantastic. There's a little crack here, so we take a look at the interior. The Chatsworth interior was the sort of standard one for the gears and gear axes. The leather interior wasn't actually fitted to, I think, any of the estates officially, and only the saloons, sort of about 84, 85 on the Gear X Executive. Although there was an estate kind of made as like a one-off which has a leather interior in it. But yes, it's the absolute business, isn't it? 1965 Ford Mustang. So one from the first year of production. They came out in April 64 as like a sort of 64 and a half model year, which is generally known as a 65. Dennis fire engine here from the mid 1970s. This is actually part of the Fire Brigade Museum that's in Romsey. I didn't even realise there was a Fire Brigade Museum here, but there it is. And it's got actually a local plate to the Air OT with sort of Southampton area plate. I think this is some kind of Dodge, I forget. It's much larger than the Willis Jeep. We've got someone who looks like a sort of Colonel Mannering looking like that. Excellent. I think we're going over there now. 1967, Leyland Atlantean. I'm sorry viewers for the music in the background. It's right next to the main stage and there's nothing I can do about it. So this was part of King Alfred Motor Services, which was the company that was running buses in Winchester at the time. As you can see, it's got some period advertising on here from a tyre specialist in Parchment Street. There's the local paper that's still going at the moment, the Hampshire Chronicle. And then on this side, it actually got an advert for Gordon Holland, which was the kind of sort of BMC stroke Leyland dealer at the time. And that's amazing. Sometimes you do see the King Alfred buses running in Winchester. I think it's every sort of New Year's Day they still run them. But yeah, Atlantean, one of the first of the rear engine buses, as you can see here. Then we got some Ford Transits. I hope some of them have petrol engines, and I hope all of them have petrol engines actually. Certainly these two I think have the shorter noses, and so they do, I think, actually have petrol engines in them. Oh, this one. Let's just hope that one with the long nose is Essex V6 viewers, because if it's not, we can't discuss it. So 70 to 71. This camper here is a really early one. It's a 66, and they came out in 65, so that is very old. And then we have this strange sort of customised one, which appeared in Top Gear back in the day. It's a 79, this one, so it's actually a Mark II, but the Mark IIs were just sort of facelifted Mark I, so this design continued for quite a long time. I'm so sorry, it's a 78, not a 79, but it's got a V, so that's why I got confused. It's called the Steve Stringer Mark II Transit, and there's Clarkson back in the day who seems to be enjoying himself. I think that's an old episode of Top Gear or something. Look at this interior. It's just deep piled carpet and sort of whatever sort of velour it's got in it. That's just amazing, isn't it? Let's have a look at the window on the side, and the colour of it is extraordinary. Slush truck, it's a Renault Estafette. This is late 70s one, 78, 79 registration. There are some Citroen H vans back there as well, but you see it everywhere, don't you? I forgot this was here. 1966 Ford Anglia estate. I forget the model code for these, but this is actually a 1200, so the saloon version of this would have been the 123E. Actually has a GT badge on it, so who knows, somebody who's more into Anglias than me can actually tell me if that was a thing you could get at the Anglia Super Estate. Look at the size of this 1944 Albion WD CX22S artillery tractor. Absolutely and utterly massive, huge thing. This is like a recovery truck. I don't think I've ever seen one of these before. So thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, leave a comment below, and we shall see you again soon for more incorrect information.